Celebrate life with Kiri Soda.
Let's celebrate life.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at 10 TV. My name is Malaki Vilodera. Now, we've always been having this conversation, the youth and unemployment. But I'm sure you're watching us now. You've been tammacking for quite a long time. You went through university or tertiary education, got perfect grades. But when you look into yourself, you think that I'm gifted and blessed in arts. I'm gifted and blessed in, I'm very innovative, I'm very creative. Then how can you use that gifting, that talent to actually create a living for yourself and move out from that notion of thinking, I need to continue hustling to get a job? So in studios, I've brought you someone who realized that he's creative in arts and loves arts, and he's making something out of it. So today he'll teach us. So if you have a biro and a pen, stay there, okay? So in studios, I'm joined by Seb Tosent.
Yes, that's right.
He is an artist. He is a painter. We've been looking at painting in Africa, and we think that, if I become a painter, who will buy my paintings? Will I really make money? But yes, you can make money. So Seb, welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much.
You have been a painter for quite some time, 5 years now, and it's been an amazing journey for you. When did you realize that painting is the thing for me? Because I know you told me that you went to university.
That's right.
Did not go to school for painting, but this is your bread and butter. Tell us more about that.
Yes, I studied something completely different at university, but my real passion is art and painting. I've always liked painting ever since I was a kid, but I didn't have the confidence to think, oh, I can make it as a painter, right? I thought, you know, maybe it doesn't sell that well, or maybe it's just a difficult job, you know, to maintain every day. But after a bit of travelling and after my studies, and as I grew a bit older, I thought, you know, I got the confidence to at least try this, and if you don't try, then I might regret it later. So yes, I just worked hard, of course, and thought about this project that I'm doing today, which also gives visibility to my work. And then there's many other things that you have to sort of put into place to make it possible, to make your dreams come true.
Yeah. Okay. Many people grapple with starting.
Right.
Just starting is a huge problem. How was it for you, and how did you manage to overcome that fear of starting?
It was more of the excitement of thinking I can get up every day, potentially, in my life and do something that I love doing. And I didn't really enjoy school that much, to be very honest. I wasn't too bad, but I didn't really enjoy it. And I thought, if I got to get up for the rest of my life in the mornings and go to work and do something I don't want to do, that's not going to be very exciting for 40 years or 50 years, you know. So I thought it's worth it. That's really what was driving me as well, you know.
Okay, all right. When people think of starting, they always allow so many voices to bug their minds. They're like, okay, if I need to start, I need some money here and there. If I need to start, I need access to markets. How did you overcome that, especially when it comes to creative arts, painting and stuff like that? Is finances a key thing to start?
Well, the thing is, you don't actually, when you work as an artist like me, you don't actually need a lot of money to start with. I mean, at the beginning, it's just buying a bit of paint, acrylic for me, because I paint with acrylic, and a canvas or two to start with, you know. You don't really need much more than that. You don't need to buy like a vehicle or even like a warehouse or anything, you know. So you can just do it with very little material to start with, and then gradually you can build onto that.
Okay.
So yeah, you can start with very little things. As for how to market it, I think today we're very lucky to have social media, on which actually for me, I sell more on social media than through traditional galleries. Which means that people who buy my work can be anywhere and I ship it to them. So it doesn't even matter anymore if you're working from, or if you are Asian, African American, European, whatever.
Yeah.
You can just ship the artwork, and people send it to your account. So it doesn't even matter anymore where you are.
Amazing. And social media has really come to help us a lot, especially
Absolutely.
the young people who are SMEs. It's a great platform. You actually said that you sell more paintings via Instagram as opposed to galleries.
Yes, yes, people just contact me on Instagram when I post something, and they ask me how much is this, and they pay less than if they'd pay through a gallery, because a percentage goes to the gallery. So, you know, it's difficult for galleries at the moment, I think, because the world is changing.
Right.
So yeah, Instagram is a great way of getting your work online, and just and also because people send you directly a message. They don't send a message to the gallery. So if they want to ask a question like, oh, so how did you do this, and what size is it, and oh, could you take another picture of it, or ask questions about my work in general, well, they can with the artist directly. I think it's great if you can do that.
Amazing, amazing. So you are in Uganda because of one particular reason. You actually told me that it's important for a creative to just break down your year such that you're not just giving off a lot of, you know, your work and intellect into your paintings, but you also get some time to, you know, beef up your information and rejuvenate your creative juices. So you told me that you do this for 3 months. In 3 months, you interact with low-income communities, refugee camps. You are here in Nachi Valley. Tell us a little bit more about that, your experience here in Uganda, and why it's important for you as a creative to just go back to the drawing board and get more information and inspiration for your work.
So for the last 5 years, I've been working on the project that I've called Share the Word Project. And the idea is that I go to low-income communities, whether it be slums or refugee camps, and I paint on people's walls, so it's street art, it's outside. I paint words that they've chosen. So, for example, someone chooses the word love, and I paint the word love on their house, and they always give me the story to explain why that word is important. And with all these different stories, I stay 1 month each time I do this in a place. I'm able to sort of tell the story of that place, tell the story of the community, and see what their challenges are, but also what they can teach us as well, which is important. So I've been doing this for 5 years. So I've done this in many different countries, and the pictures that you can see now on your screen are from this project. So words can be painted in Arabic like this one that's shown, but could also be painted in Swahili or English or whatever. I do this for several reasons. The first one is I believe that it's important to show, to focus also on communities we don't usually focus on. I think that's important. The other thing for me is that for me just as a human being and as an artist, I learn so much from going to these places. These are places where people welcome me, are not from my culture, but in the end, the interaction I have with them, we both learn a lot from the interaction, because I stay 1 month with them and I actually live with these communities. And lastly, one good thing that these communities do for me in arts is that they enable me to paint freestyle. I always paint freestyle, never have a drawing of what I'm going to paint before it goes onto the wall. And this is because they never ask me, oh, so what are you going to paint? Or no one ever says, wait until my husband comes back from work and then I'll ask him. No, people are very spontaneous. And they enable me to do this work. So I think, so for all these reasons, I love doing this. I do this 3 times a year, and then the other 9 months, I do work that's much more commercial, and that enables me not only just to live, but also to finance this project that I do. But this project that I do also gives me visibility. So in the end, you know, it's
a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just learned so much from it. That's the most important thing, I think, for me.
I love what you've brought out is 3 times a year, these are 3 months, you actually fund yourself to go out in different countries to live with, you know, communities like refugees and low-income communities, to learn, to invest in your art. So how important is that? Because most of the times once we are in the creative space, maybe we've gotten a market here and maybe we're making, you know, a coin or two, we are comfortable. We get to that point where we're even comfortable of our skills. How important is it to always refresh your skills as an artist, not just as an artist, but also as a business person?
I think it's very important. Firstly, as you said, it breaks my year up. right? So I work for 1 month, like for example here in Uganda, then I go home for 3-4 months, and then I'll go somewhere else. It's important to sort of break the year into different pieces like this. Also, it's a different thing. When I paint at home, I paint canvases or murals sometimes for clients, but not that many murals in 1 month, and it's a different thing, you know. And I can try things out. For example, I can try this pattern that I'm thinking about, and I try it on the wool, and I think, wow, it looks great, and so I'll use it afterwards. And also just great inspiration. I take a lot of inspiration from looking at nature, from looking at fashion, especially in Africa, what women are wearing, whether it be the colours or the patterns. So just refreshing your mind, taking inspiration, and sort of breaking the year into different pieces. So it doesn't feel like I'm doing the same thing all the time, you know. Sometimes I'm painting a mural for a client, then I'm painting some canvases for an art show, and then I'm here in Africa. I think it's great. I'm not doing the same thing all the time.
Are you also getting into mentoring? Because what people say is the more you teach others, the more you also get to learn.
Yes, I think it's absolutely true. Here in Uganda, I had 2 students, 2 pupils, who just happened to be kids, Congolese kids in this UNHCR refugee settlement. And I taught them, how to paint, of course, but also a little bit more than that, you know, and how to anticipate things, you know, like we're running out of white paint. You got to see that, and you got to tell me, and then we go to the shop, and then we get the white paint. You got to think about all these elements. And also, it was great because they were just asking me many questions about a world they sort of imagine, but they don't know, which is my world. And then it's interesting for me to ask them questions and to tell their story, for example, on my social media, because many people who follow me in Europe or in America, for example, they've no idea really what people are living here, or why they came here from Kivu, but in positive aspects as well, of course, you know, and the difficulties, but just as a whole. So yeah, just very enriching on the whole. Yeah.
Teaching and training.
Yes, teaching and learning from them. This is what I'm saying. Like, they were my pupils, but I learned a lot from them as well.
Right.
So everyone wins.
Okay, let's look at the market. Of course, you said that for you, social media has played a major role in you just making sales out of your paintings and stuff like that. But when it comes to social media, there's also another whole dynamic that comes with it, the messaging. It's not just about posting your painting, but the messaging that goes with it. Teach us today, how do I get it right in terms of persuading the other person on the other side who is a potential buyer to my painting or to my creative art that I'm putting out there to sell? How do you craft that messaging to entice and to communicate to the buyer on the other end?
I don't really know how. I think what's interesting on social media is that people have to sort of follow you, not just click on follow, but if you post, for example, stories on Instagram as well as just the posts, if your posts not only have a few hashtags but have a story behind them, then people get to know the artist, his project, his view on things, and it's, I think, more interesting than just having just a few pictures of art and nothing else. So through all these different things, you can sort of get more into the personality of the person who's behind the artwork, and I feel that maybe that's also what makes people engage. Visual arts, like what I do, usually you have fewer followers than someone who's in music, for example, but the followers are really going to buy some of your art. And when you're selling artwork, you don't need 1,000 people a month to buy artwork. It's not like when you're a singer, you need more than 1,000 people a month to listen to your work for you to get money. So it sort of depends on the business, but yeah, for me, especially Instagram, because it's so easy to visualize on Instagram, that works for me. Yeah, of course.
Let's take to still the business side and trying to monetize your creative arts and what you gifted art. When it comes to pricing, how do you go about it? You've come up with a painting X, maybe something like this. You've done a mural, or you've done a mural like what you can see on our screens. If you do that for a client, because that is what many creative arts people struggle with, the pricing, the rates. how did you go about that, and what can people benchmark against just to get their rates right?
Yeah, to me, when it comes to art, it's more like the market that determines it rather than the number of hours you've spent on it, right? So that's how I think about it. Of course, I calculate first the costs. If it's a mural, it can be the paint that I've been using, but then also like just the size, the difficulty. If it's a wall that has a lot of height, it takes more time to get up and down a ladder, and it just makes it a bit more difficult, so that'd be a bit more expensive. But if not, at first you sort of try, and it's better for an artist, this is real sort of advice, it's better for an artist to go quite low at first in the prices and to go up gradually, rather than to go up very quickly and realise, oh, that was too expensive, I need to go down. Because the thing is, on the art market, no one's going to want to buy something from an artist whose prices are going down. That's not a good thing. You want the prices to be going up, but gradually. Take your time. See, this is a sort of long journey. So yeah, just take your time and go slowly. My objective, my goal as well, is not only to do art now, is also to be doing art in 40 years if I'm still alive, right?
Amazing.
Because it's what I love doing. Because it's absolutely what I love doing above everything else. So yeah, you got to sort of think about the future, and if you're able to sell something for very expensive on one occasion, don't fall for it, because if not, you'll have to lower your prices after, and people will see that, people will notice that. No one wants to buy art from an artist who's bringing his prices down.
So what was it for you when you were starting out and you did your first painting and decided, this one, it's ready and it's perfect for sale? Did you benchmark against artists who have done it before, just to compare the pricing and know what you're going to charge it at? What is it for you? Because for people who are starting, it's hard. In whatever trade, it's always hard to begin and actually price your things right. For you, what was it?
I sort of looked at what other artists were doing, and I just did it a bit cheaper because I was no one in the art world, absolutely no one, you know. So yes, I did do this, and yes, I remember the first one I sold.
How was
what you said though, what you said it was like, was it perfect to be sold? No, I didn't think it was perfect. And actually, most of the stuff I do still today, I don't think they're perfect, because when I finish them, I'm sort of happy with them, but after a few days, I look at the artwork that I always put on my wall, the last one that I finished, and I think, oh, I should have changed this and I should have changed that. But that's also what keeps me going forward. So I always think, oh, the next one will be even better. You know, that's what I think. That's what drives me. But yeah, I'm sort of satisfied with it, but not entirely.
Yeah.
So this is what keeps you going, and yeah. But I remember the first one. Yes.
How much did you sell it for? Can you remember?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm very bad with numbers, remembering numbers. No, my memory doesn't go that far. No.
Yeah. But it was one of your cheapest sales.
Of course, the cheapest. Yeah. Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. When it comes to just remaining relevant in the market and for visibility as well, if someone watching us is in your space, creative arts, painting and stuff like that, where can they go out to just market themselves? Not sales, but just marketing, visibility. What events should they look out for? And if there are none, what can they creatively come up with just to create an audience and the visibility for themselves?
Yeah, well, obviously, as we said, social media is one thing, but also you can just go and ask people if they sort of need of this and that. For example, murals, I'm thinking of, or I saw a few in Kampala, so there are people doing this also in this city, like in any other city around the world.
Right.
And it can start just very locally. You can start someone who you know, your local shop, you know, or something, if they need something, and you sort of work from there. It's like when you sell a canvas. The first canvas I sold was to the mother of a friend of mine, right? So you think, oh, it's not going very far, you know, it's still staying in my circle. Yeah, but that's the start, you know, and gradually someone sees the artwork there or in this person's house and thinks, yeah, that's quite nice, where'd you get that from, you know, and gradually you start selling more. And it's the same with murals that you can do around the city that are commissioned murals that people are going to pay for, clients are going to pay for. So I think it's just worth sort of asking people, putting yourself out there whether it be sort of more physically, but also on social media, all that sort of works. You have to accept that it's a gradual process and not an overnight success, of course,
right.
of course.
I'm just thinking aloud, and I'm thinking, if someone is in your space and maybe wants to get their name out there, like you said, when you started out, you didn't have a name, but now you're known. Would it help for someone to maybe go to a university that offers arts and painting as a course, and maybe just offer to train them or share what they know? In that regard, does it create value as well?
Well, maybe it can for certain people. I think it depends on the profile. Because I didn't really enjoy school that much, I always kept separate art and school, right? So I did a lot of art at home in my own free time, which was the time that I enjoyed most, and not at school. So I think for me, art school was maybe not the solution, because it's not something I enjoyed. The fact that it would be in a school, right? A lot of observation and just a lot of hard work at home is exactly what I think you need to progress and to go forward with your own art. This means, like, the first memories I have of myself being a child, I remember what I was drawing. I was drawing medieval castles. I don't know, I was into that at the time. I remember that. I was maybe 3 years old. And since then, I've always been drawing. So I think that's how you get better. I mean, it's no secret that through work you get better. And observation. I take pictures sometimes of plants, right? And I take pictures of patterns that I see on the people are wearing. I sometimes just stop women in the streets when I'm in slums or refugee camps when I'm working there, and I say, well, can I just take a picture of what you're wearing? Because the colour combination really talks to me, and I'm going to use that later, or the patterns, or the way the triangles of it. So a lot of observation and hard work.
Hard work.
Of course.
Okay, all right. As you come to a close, just speak to them. That's your camera. Give them advice, give them hope and stuff like that. Anything you want to tell the viewer who's watching us, who is in the creative arts, just to help them start, because starting is the big issue.
Yes, I think firstly the most important thing is to work in a field that you have passion for. Because in that case, you don't really care how many hours you work towards something, because you love what you're doing and you don't feel like your time is being wasted. And I think if you do something you're passionate about, you will be much better at it than if you work for something that maybe you imagine is more lucrative, but in the end, on the long term, you don't put as much passion in your work as you should be doing. So that would be my advice. Just try and work in the field that you're really passionate about, because you'll give it your everything, and if it works, then great, and there are chances that it works.
Yeah.
And you know, if it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least you've tried. But I really believe if you're really passionate, you can go far. Yeah.
Seb, thank you so much for coming in studios.
You're welcome.
I'm sure you've learned a thing or two and that you've taken notes. So start, believe in yourself, start, keep at it. But remember, start in something that you're passionate about, because it's passion that will keep you in the game for a very long time. He plans on doing it even when he's old, so it's purely passion. Yes. Keep it here. Morning at 10 TV still continues. Up next is Take Note.